Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome back to our channel. You are Unconditional Love, and in today's video, we're gonna start to talk about one of the most important topic in relationship, which is third-party energy. Whether you are on twin flame journey, whether you are already in a relationship, whether you are already with your twin flame or not, this topic is gonna cover all of the relationship about the third-party energy and how third-party energy actually work if you are even single or in a relationship.
I think some of you have been following Ahmed for a little bit longer time and some of you maybe not that long. So I will a little bit cover the basics and my understanding of that so that later on we can go a little bit deeper. The divine union and the connection with your divine partner, with the divine counterpart, usually comes from within, not usually, always comes from within. It's the moment when you truly connect with the God. So the divine union is this.
Yes.
Me and God and he and God, and because of that we became vibrational match and we met. So it's never about us meeting together, it's about us meeting God and God putting people on the same frequency who reach the frequency of being anchored from within and knowing who they are, what is their life purpose, and being pretty much deconditioned. And so when it comes to this, whenever you might notice that you have the third party energy entering your relationship, whether in form of some people, for example, you see that your man is looking on the other girls, or some of your friends are constantly getting into your field and not letting you at peace, or there is someone who is, for example, from the couple is constantly focusing on the work, because also the work as an energy can be the third party energy, or someone is cheating or scrolling the phone, like all these things are the third party energy. And when that happens, it's an imbalance in one person in the relationship, but it usually reflects also to the other person that they are having some third party energy between them and God. So I will put it on example from my perspective. Yeah, I'm gonna see that my partner is constantly scrolling on his phone and he's bringing some third party energy because it's way too much. Then I'm gonna ask myself, where do I have the third party energy, which means the energy between me and between God, not that God would be above, like we are one, but where is something what is interfering my connection with the divine, while this is being reflected by him, for example, checking the other girls, going to the phone, or constantly having some even male friend, or focusing too much on the work. Or it can be also the other way around. If he's gonna see that I'm, for example, focusing much more on something else and not being balanced, he needs to ask himself, where does he have the third party energy? And then we need to separately heal this. We can also have the conversation and to discuss like what's gonna be the steps. But first of all, we always need to bring the attention back to ourselves and to the energy of where is the third party energy between me and God.
Yes, and I want as well to share that it's always an energy. It's always an energy and reflect back in the physical reality, because everything happens energetically first. So whatever frequency, low frequency between you and the divine, it can be even family member, let's say, it can be even some wounds that you're still holding on that's blocking you from connecting to the divine. Because I had a lot during my session, I'm working with a lot of the soul that choose the divine feminine path on the twin flame journey, and always come to me and tell me my partner left me, and or my twin flame left me and he is in another connection, and this is triggering me and I don't know, and they come crying and solving, and I always tell them to come back to themselves. And once we start to go deeper, we see always there is something between them and the divine that causes this energy to interfere their field. And once they start to come back to themselves, everything energetically start to align for them and start to come back to union first happen between you and the divine. So whatever is blocking you from being with the divine as one, it's gonna reflect as an energy that's gonna interfere your relationship. It's always has happened like this. Once you start to come back to yourself, we call it the inner union, releasing whatever frequency or energy between you and the divine and connecting back to yourself. I love to say connecting back to your heart, connecting back to your soul, live your divine purpose from a place of love, and releasing whatever frequency that is not serving you between you and the divine. This is where you gonna start to be one. So you're gonna be one your divine counterpart gonna be one, and this is where you're gonna meet in union. Was actually the story of our relationship, because we were bringing a lot third party energy from both direction, and we would like actually to share it with you in this video as well, and I would love you to start.
I feel like before I go to specific examples, I will share something about people pleasing and self-abandonment, because I have been pretty much in this pattern for a long time. And when I'm single, I'm very good in focusing on myself, on my needs and everything. But once I get in touch with friendships, relationship, business partnership or whatever, I start to do from my wounding sometimes the steps that are causing that I don't do the decisions from full alignment. One of the typical things would be, for example, letting my business partner to direct or to tell me what is right for us, while my download is different. So I would abandon myself for the other person's comfort. This was the way how I was basically abusing my energy, and how I was letting third-party energy or the interferences coming into my life. So for example, if you have a business partner and you do something with them that doesn't feel aligned, for example, you guys are too much rushing and pushing, and you are not having enough time to rest, and you are creating more and more projects, but you are not having enough time to come back to yourself and to anchor yourself, and you are letting the energy and the need of the other person interfere your own space and pace, the tempo, then you are abandoning yourself. And because I have been in imbalance like this, when I had like certain projects or whatever connected with the other people, I was imbalanced within that connection with the other person, and that got reflected in our relationship, because the dynamic with the other person where I had a project was unhealthy. That means I was doing decisions that were not coming from my center by actually signing up for that and saying yes to that and not leaving or not expressing my needs, because that I was imbalanced. And what happened as a result of that was that Ahmed's work went fully off, and he ended up taking care of the of the household and of the dog, and things went really wrongly. The door is right now a little bit loud, showing that really how the imbalance within me caused also that the energies within our relationship that used to be really aligned started to get misaligned.
Separation, So I would like to say, because from my side, I start to allow this energy to interfere energetically, and I'm gonna share the story from the beginning, because my understanding for third-party energy is more energetic, and Ludmila is more energetic but more physical. So I was always seeing it from a different perspective. Even when I was playing basketball, it was energy between me and the divine, because this was not the expression of my truth, of who truly I am. So I started by leaving basketball first, and I saw it's something like a contract. Was I sign up before, and I had to break this contract energetically in order to happen physically. And once I did that, I start to align more, and every time I align more with my work, with myself, with my true authentic self of who truly I am, I start to come closer to union with God. And this energy that is attached to me, that is not serving me on a soul level, it starts to fade away, and it starts to attract my divine counterpart more. This is why my work is more energetically. So I work more to release the third party energy energetically, whatever frequency. It can even sometimes anger, like whatever I'm angry, whatever I'm putting my focus away outside of my work or in other people, it creates situation in my relationship that it put us in a place of separation and allowing energy to interfere our relationship. This is why I always say work on the energy between you and the divine. Everything coming from love. Just allow the love to flow through you, and whatever frequency is not coming from love, allow it to get out of your field. And if you cannot, just go within and see why you are attracted and work on it, because there is certain wound or certain open in your field, certain like a place that you allow this energy to come in. So you need to work deeper and see why you are allowing, what kind of frequency that attracting this low frequency that create the third party energy, and bring it back to love and light. This is where you're gonna start to release the third party energy, and this is where your physical reality is gonna start to change.
Yeah, And I think it's really maybe time for us, as we are on this consciousness journey, to get out of many people-pleasing patterns that we have, because really each and every, we already have pretty good discernment, and I'm pretty sure if you are watching this video, you are really on a path of deeply knowing yourself. And sometimes there might be people in your life that logically are right, but at the same time you feel underneath some subtle energy that is basically telling you something is off here. Maybe it's time to start listening to this intuition, to this subtle voice, because there might be the voice in your head telling you, no, but it's okay, but they're logically right, or why wouldn't I do this, and the other people do that. But starting to listen to your own intuition and having the own discernment, which is like the subtle ability to know the little nuances from within, is very, very important. Because once you start doing this, you are going to step less and less into the situations that are misaligned from you. And this is basically when you are creating the sacred connection within yourself, and then it doesn't get reflected within your relationship. So what happened basically in our relationship, at least from my perspective, was that I signed up for a project out of fear and certain conditioning and misaligned energies within my system. And because of that, it affected the healthy dynamic, the masculine and feminine dynamic within our relationship, where Ahmed had to do more like the home stuff and I was doing more like the performance stuff. It was just for a week, but still it really showed us valuable lessons. And within that, I was finishing my cycle of overdoing and not resting enough, and of saying no to whatever feels on the subtle energy level no. And he was also finishing certain level of maybe rushing, running, and wanting to do things very quickly through his own timing, instead of listening properly to the divine timing. So we both heard there the lesson. It was not that, you know, like while I did something from misalignment, he was having his lesson from within as well. We both were going through something that we needed to understand. So it was, by the end of the day, happening for our highest good. But certain lessons we don't need to repeat 5 or 10 times. Certain lessons, if we are truly connected and anchored, we can repeat maybe once, or even learning from other people's mistakes. It's sometimes good strategy.
Exactly. It depends as well on the action and how you're gonna approach the situation again, because the situation is gonna start to come back, and you need to approach it from a different perspective, because the universe is gonna keep testing you, and until you take the right decision with the right action, this is where you're gonna send a signal to the universe that you learned the lessons and you are ready to move on with your next phase. This is why we always call it divine union. This is sacred union. It's you be in union with God to attract your divine counterpart in union as well with God, and both together as one with God. No energy between you both, and only the divine is the energy, your source, the source of everything.
I will share one more thing about the mirroring, because the concept of mirroring, it's something what I agree with to a certain extent, but not everything is mirroring. But everything in our field is expression of something that we need to work through anyways. I'm not going to go into explanation how mirroring and the other like energetic connections and what is happening to us and why it works. That's for a different video. But what I would like to share was that I forgot what I want to say, honestly. What was okay. There was something important.
Mirroring.
Yeah, I know. The people around us, they're a reflection of something that we need to start searching from within. Sometimes the answer comes on the level of doing different action, but sometimes these people are in our field because they are reflecting something what we do to ourselves.
Exactly.
So for example, if someone disrespects your time, doesn't pay you, belittles you, doesn't give enough attention and energy to you from a healthy perspective, then you need to ask yourself where I do not give this to myself. I have worked with a lot of women who would be complaining, my partner never has time for me, he's working long time, he's working until long hours, and he's only meeting me and the children in the evening. And then I'm asking the woman to create a calendar and to check how many minutes minutes, not even hours, minutes a day she's spending there for herself. I know many of you might be the mothers. I understand if the child is like in an early age, is a fully different topic. But when the children start to be bigger, or if you are not a mother, it is very important for you really to find the time for yourself, because everything externally is gonna reflect you how you treat yourself. If people don't give you value, they don't give you respect, then they treat you nicely. It's a reflection of how you treat yourself. And I know what I'm talking about,
Yes.
because I was mistreating myself for years.
Yes, exactly. And it's always reflection and energy of receiving. What I'm receiving now, it's energy of receiving. It's gonna, even wherever you are not allowing yourself to receive for yourself, you're not even gonna receive anything from others. So allow yourself to receive rest, taking care of yourself, loving yourself, so you can receive love, you can receive even people treating you well, and receive even abundance.
Mm-hmm. Treat yourself the way how the most loving person
Exactly.
in the world would treat you. Start to see yourself that way and do the aligned decisions from that space. It sometimes means to say no to your partner. For example, I will put a very quick example about, we both were in our process. I was having certain physical symptoms, and Ahmed was having certain emotional symptoms, and we needed to heal it. And it happened to me a moment when our energies were both too strong, we both were releasing too much, and I just had to ask him to go to the other room and to do things by himself, because we are very good in supporting each other, and whenever we are resourced, we hold a space for each other. When I'm anchored in myself, I can hold space for him. When he's anchored in himself, he holds space for me, and this is a beautiful thing in our relationship. But when we both are in the process, we really need to be honest with needing sometimes to go to different spaces, and each of us needs to hold themselves, and this is also coming from self-love and self-respect. And it is very important not to give too much on the expense of yourself, even if it's in the relationship. It doesn't mean that I'm gonna be ignorant, not at all, but there is a subtle layer between self-love and ignorance. I can say that, but you really need to find a way that works for you, so that you don't constantly do something and are there for the others on the expense of yourself. But I'm also not saying to anyone to go into any narcissistic feature of me, because when people start learning more about self-love, this is the other extreme that they go.
Yes.
They go from self-hatred, abusiveness for self, putting themselves on the last position, into such opposite extreme, and from that opposite extreme they're gonna find the middle ground.
Yes. This is actually my story, and our story actually, to go from this stage to extremely self-love and to find the balance, because everything has to come to a place of love. And I say the place of love is a balance between everything. So this is where you're gonna find the union within yourself, and this is where you're gonna live from a place of really alignment.
And there is one more thing. You might see a lot nowadays people talking about self-love. Some of them are speaking from an anchored place and through self-love. Some of them are speaking from this extreme place. Have your own discernment what feels right, because if person is abusing themselves and abandoning themselves, and they go to, as Ahmed said, like extreme self-love, that extreme self-love is actually not self-love. It's very often like very selfish, touching narcissistic place. And people who are putting here's the middle healthy space. When you truly love yourself, when you are anchored in God's love and the truth, when you are putting yourself below the others, that means you are not in self-love. When you are putting yourself higher than in others, it also means that you don't love yourself. Anyone who is anchored in God's love, they are being centered, and they don't have any need to be above the others, neither below them. And this is a very tricky place to get into, because it requires a lot of personal development. We are still trying to find a middle ground, because we are oscillating below and above, but I feel that we are not here anymore, neither here anymore, but the space we are oscillating out between is much smaller, and this is the part about.
Yes, this is why I love to say, this is why my brand is called You Are Unconditional Love, because it's all about how to love yourself unconditionally and how to love others unconditionally.
Yeah.
That's good. Do you want to share about the description, about our product?
Oh yeah, I wanted to share with you, if any of you would like or you feel called to work with the physical body, we do have programs for full body alignment, for lower back pain, shoulder pain, neck pain, or if you are working a lot on computer, you have wrist issues, also online programs for that. The price is €18 per one program. It's usually for 3 weeks. It's 10 videos that are gonna guide you through the details, and it's very good to slowly start to work between like 15 or 20 minutes a day on unlocking these blockages.
Exactly, and as well, you're gonna find as well my website with all the courses to come back to union. I just announced a new course called the Heart Orgasm, which is going to help you to connect with your heart through the sexual energies, through the life force energy. It's such a beautiful course as well, the Divine Feminine coming back to union. All of these courses help you to work on the body, mind, and the spirit. We both are covering the whole, through the body, through the mind, through the spirit with our courses. You're going to find all of that in our description below.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for listening, for watching, and we hope it's going to bring you some insights. And if you would like to share something, you can do that in the comments below.
Thank you.
Thank you.